Okay, everyone. I have talked about in the last lecture on the exceptions to applying for the alien business operation license. Okay, what kind of exceptional cases? กรณียกเว้น okay, that does not have to apply for the alien business operation license. One, as you can see here in black, is what we had already mentioned in our previous lecture, which is the foreign company is operating manufacturing for export. Right, we gave the example there of a factory in Thailand manufacturing, making furniture and exporting out of Thailand, selling out to a customer outside Thailand. That kind of business, alright, with that kind of business activity, don't have to apply for an alien business operation license. Alright, because it doesn't come into the list 2 or list 3. Now there are these other 4 exceptions. Alright, there are these other 4 exceptions, situations. Alright, some of them are business activities, some of them are situations, which comes into the exceptions, alright, of not having to apply for the alien business operation license. Let me have a look at your book. Where is this discussed? Alright, this is discussed on page 19. On page 19 and page 20 of your book. Page 19, 19, and page 20 of your book. Okay? 19 and page 20 of your book. It's there. Go and have a look at it. These exceptions are discussed there. Alright, so let's move on. Okay? The first one for our exception today, the other kind of business activity is finance or fund managing business activity. Now this one you cannot find on page 19 or page 20. Why? Because it's recently been updated in 2019 by a ministerial regulation or กฎกระทรวง. I will send you the link, right, through our line group. I will send you the link through our line group to this กฎกระทรวง or this ministerial regulation, okay, which says that certain kinds of, I think quite a lot of finance or fund managing business activity don't have to apply for the alien business operation license. So a finance company or a fund managing business, right, that kind of company, foreign company, would not have to apply for the license. But look specifically at the link, which I'm going to send you through the line group. Okay, yeah, in the list, it's a list of specific finance and fund managing business activity that does not have to apply for the alien business operation license. The other one is a business activity promoted by ส่งเสริม or promoted by BOI. What is BOI? BOI is the Board of Investment, or in Thai they call กรมการส่งเสริมการลงทุน กรมการส่งเสริมการลงทุน okay, or Board of Investment, or BOI. This is a department that comes under กระทรวงพาณิชย์ the Ministry of Commerce. The aim of the Board of Investment, or BOI, okay, is to try to promote foreign businesses or foreign company to be located in certain areas or certain zones in Thailand. There are very few businesses wants to set up their company there or wants to have their company located there. For example, okay, very far up in the north, or in Chiang Rai, certain areas in Chiang Rai or Mae Hong Son provinces, right, or certain areas in certain provinces in Isan region, in the northeastern region of Thailand, right, and of course in the 3 provinces of the south, Yala, Narathiwat, and Pattani, right. And also, I think one or two areas in the central region, I think round about Ayutthaya region. Have a look at the BOI website. Okay, they will put these areas in and then put them under zones. Zones 1, Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. Okay. If the foreign company is located and is operating their business, alright, any kind of business in these zones, that foreign company would not have to apply for the ABOL. Okay, why? Because it's a kind of foreign company that is ส่งเสริม or promoted by, alright, promoted by the Board of Investments or BOI. Okay. The other exceptional category is if the company or the business is located in IEAT. IEAT stands for Industrial Estates Authority of Thailand. In Thailand, there are certain industrial estates or นิคมอุตสาหกรรม that is owned by the Thai government. Okay. And if the business or the company is located in an industrial estate, นิคมอุตสาหกรรม that is owned by the government, for example, Lem Chabang Port, right? Maptaput, right? If it's located in the government-owned industrial estate, not privately owned industrial estate, nah? Right? Like Amata Nakhon is privately owned, no. Rojanai is privately owned, no. Right? It has to be an industrial estate owned by the government, like Lem Chabang. Right? Then the company that is located in the industrial estate owned by the government, managed by the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand, IEAT, that company do not have to apply for the Alien Business Operation License. Okay? The last exceptional case is an American company. Alright, now I know, I gave the example of Microsoft Inc. I gave the example of Google Inc. as a foreign company that has to apply for a license, right? That I was just trying to use examples that you can relate to explain what is a foreign company registered or incorporated outside Thailand. But when we come to this part on the exceptions, alright, we say that, okay, that an American company, alright, any kind of American company, a company registered outside Thailand in America, or a company registered in Thailand with 50% or more of its total shares owned by Americans, right? American person, which can mean an American human being or American company, right? That company do not have to apply for the Alien Business Operation License. Alright, so in other words, let's say, okay, let's go back to our example on ABC Company Limited. Let's say ABC Company Limited has 50% or more than 50% of its total shares owned by an American person. So it could be an American human being, American citizen, right? A company registered in America or incorporated in America, or another company registered in Thailand which has, 50% or more of its shares owned by Americans. ABC Company Limited would be able to operate business, right, in Thailand without having to apply for the Alien Business Operation License, without having to apply for this license. ABC Company Limited would only have to inform Kasong Panit or Ministry of Commerce, okay, to get what they call an Alien Business Operation Certificate, not license, certificate. And this can be issued almost immediately by showing that the shareholders are Americans. The shareholders that owns at least 50% of the shares or the capital, right, are Americans. No need to wait and apply for the license. Just get an Alien Business Certificate when you can show that, 50% or more of the shares are owned by the Americans, and you can operate the business. Right? The reason for that, why only Americans? Why not other foreigners? Why Americans is the only special group? Well, because of this treaty. Right? A treaty is a contract between governments. Right? This is a treaty, a contract made between the Thai government and the US government. It goes back to 1966. Long time ago. Alright. The Treaty of Amity and Economic Relations 1966 สนธิสัญญาไมตรีและความสัมพันธ์ทางเศรษฐกิจ Right. This was a contract entered into, right, between the Thai government and the US government during the Vietnam War, right, to maintain better relationship between the two countries. The contract or the treaty between the Thai government and the US government has many conditions in the contract, in the treaty, and one of the conditions is that, right, an American company in Thailand, incorporated in Thailand, operating business in Thailand, would be treated just like a Thai company. That would mean no need to apply for this license. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the five exceptional cases whereby a foreign company, a foreign juristic person, doesn't have to apply for the ABOL. Okay, now if you look at it carefully, look at the 5 exceptional cases carefully. Alright, and think, how many companies in Thailand right now? Just make a rough guess. Right? How many companies in Thailand right now, right, would come under this kind of, these 5 categories? Alright? Not a lot actually. So there will be more companies. I have this guy here. He's a shareholder or a director of a company. Alright? That does not come into any of these 5 exceptional cases. Right? What about a company that is, say, for example, an Australian? For example, this guy is an Australian guy. Alright? And an Aussie, right? An Australian citizen. And he wants to open a restaurant selling Western food, maybe also alcohol, maybe a pub, right? Now, he or his company that he plans to set up in Thailand doesn't come into any of this category. Well, where does that leave him? And your answer is, of course, apply for the license then, Ajahn. He would set up a company, right? The shares of the company would be 50% or more of the total shares of the company would be owned by Australians, including him, as one of the shareholders. And that company apply for the license and then they can operate the business. Right? As simple as that. If you don't come into any of these exceptions, then the company or the business apply for the license. Okay? It's as simple as that. And then once you get the license from the Ministry of Commerce, you can operate. Now, this is where the story goes beyond what is already in the book. Right? Up until this point, just as an overview a little bit at this time, up until our lecture right now, everything is in the book. Right? Our chapter 2 finishes right here. Okay, there's another little part here on page 20 and page 21. Okay, where I write under page 20, other kinds of foreign companies. And I talk about representative office, I talk about branch office, I talk about regional office. You must read these. These are other kinds of foreign companies. in addition to those I discussed 2 lectures ago. All right, in the lecture on foreign companies, okay, I only gave 2 kinds of foreign companies for 2 kinds of foreign juristic person. These are the another 3. You could say these are additional 3 more. Okay, please have a look at it, page 20 and 21. Now, coming back to the question, all right, there's a question here. I haven't raised the question yet. Sorry. So far, up until this lecture, until the end of today's lecture, which is here, right now, okay, everything is covered in that chapter 2. All right? There's nothing I've covered so far that's not in chapter 2. Now, there is a question here, which makes us having to extend outside of chapter 2. Extend, get out of what is already in the book. And that is the question of this guy. He's an Australian. Okay, I'll just put he's an Australian. Right? Or in simple words, some people like to say is an Aussie. Right? And this Aussie guy wants to own shares, 50%. Or he and his friends wants to own share, or he and some other Aussie company wants to own share, 50% or more of the total shares in the company. And that company want to operate business in Thailand. It doesn't come, the business activity or the business doesn't come into any one of these exceptions. So that would mean that his company would have to apply for the ABOL, get the ABOL and operate. Now there's a big question there. Many people like him does not want to apply for the license. Why? Right? Why is he trying to go around the law? Why doesn't he want to be a good boy or maybe a good girl? Right? Why must he try to look for ways to go around the law, to zigzag the law? Just apply for the license, apply for the license, get the license, and then operate. Right? The trouble is getting this license is quite time consuming and quite troublesome. Alright, this is why many people like him, many foreigners like him, or even foreign companies says, is there any other way for me, alright, an Australian, to be able to operate business in Thailand, but not apply for the license? Is there any other ways for me to be able to operate business in Thailand, but not getting this license? Of course, legal ways. Are there any legal ways around it? Alright. Now, before I go and talk about the different ways, legal and illegal ways, okay, in another lecture, before I talk about that, maybe I will go into a little bit more details on why getting this license is time consuming and troublesome, right? There are many reasons, there are many causes why it's time consuming and troublesome, but I'll just highlight maybe the top 3 reasons why it's time consuming. Top 3 or top 4 reasons why is time consuming and troublesome, and to make people like him, foreigners like him saying, I rather not apply for the alien business operation license. Is there any legal ways around it? Alright, so let's look at these top 3 reasons first. I have prepared the next slide here. Okay, as you can see, I've stated 4. Actually, this is wrong, right? It shouldn't be top 3 now, it should be the top 4. No, it's out of the picture. So top 4 reasons. Alright, top 4 reasons why people don't want to, foreigners or foreign company doesn't want to apply for the alien business operation license. First of all, you could say this is the first one that really pushes people away from applying for the license. And that is, there is no guarantee. There's no guarantee that the license will be granted. Right? Now, if you say no guarantee, okay, no problem. I mean, then I don't do. Well, it's not as simple as that. You see, because think about it. Who applies for the license? Who applies for this license? The one who is operating the business activity. Who is operating the business activity? The company. The company that has 50% or more of its total shares owned by foreigners. Right? And doesn't come into those 4 exceptions that we talked about earlier on. Right? Would have to apply for the license. So that means the company would have to be registered first. If it's a company to be registered in Thailand, it would have to be registered first. That would take about 3 weeks at the fastest. Right? Of course, if it's a company that is registered outside Thailand already and just want to come in to operate, right? Okay, you can apply for the license. Now, the real headache comes next. Applying for the license is not like you send in the application form for the license today at the Ministry of Commerce and you get the license tomorrow. No. No. Right? It links to the next reason. It takes at least 60 days for the Ministry of Commerce Kasong Panit to consider the application for the license before they can decide whether Anuyat, grant the license, or my Anuyat, don't grant the license. Okay, and by the way, when I say 60 days, it is not just 60 days consideration period. It is not just this. There is an additional stretch of time of maybe another 20 to 30 days. What is this for? 20 to 30 days. Well, when you submit the application for the license, Kam Khor Bai Anuyat, to the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Commerce would have to review, would have to check those documents. Right? And the officer at the Ministry of Commerce will probably have questions. Most of the time they have questions. Right? And would require you to bring more documents, more information to support your application for the license. That will take about this kind of time. And once you have provided all the required information or documents by the Ministry of Commerce, then the consideration period starts. Then the 60 days begin once you have provided all the required information and documents as requested by the officer. So if you look at the time period, it look like, round about how many days? 80 days? 90 days? 3 months. Before the company can actually know the answer of you can operate the business in Thailand or no, you cannot operate the business in Thailand. So you have to wait quite a long time. The company, the foreign company, have to wait quite a long time. Right? And at the end of that 80 days period, 90 days period, maybe the Ministry of Commerce would say, I'm sorry, we cannot grant you the license. And then what? What is the company going to do? What is our Australian company going to do? Nothing. Cannot do anything. Because don't forget, it's the Alien Business Operation License. Without a business operation license, you can't operate. So tell me, which foreign company is going to come to Thailand, right, and wait for this kind of period before they can even know it can operate the business or not? I don't think there will be any who is willing to do that. Because at the end of this period, the Ministry of Commerce may say, okay, you get the license, yay, drink champagne, you celebrate, you can do the business finally after such a long wait. Or you may say, the Ministry of Commerce may say, sorry, the license is not granted to you. Alright? So there's no guarantee that the license will be granted. Okay? You set up the company in Thailand for nothing. If it's the kind of foreign company that is to be registered or incorporated here. Alright, in that case. Okay, of course, it's a foreign company already incorporated outside and you come and apply, okay. You don't have to waste time to set it up, to incorporate it, to register it. Alright, but you still have this waiting period. And at the end of the waiting period, you may not get the license. You may not get the license. Now, I have to be fair to the Ministry of Commerce. The average statistics of the of the application for the license that has been granted the license is about 75 to 80% of all applications. So the granting rate is quite high. But think about it practically. What if your company is the unlucky company that comes into that 20% or 25% that don't get the license? In this 80 days or 90 days period, you'll be thinking all the time, I hope I'm not going to be that unlucky 20 or 25% who is not going to get the license, who is not going to be granted the license. Okay, so these two reasons are the top two of why, okay, foreigner says, I rather not apply for the license. Is there any way for me to still be able to operate business in Thailand? Is there any way I can not apply for this license and still be able to operate business in Thailand? Alright? Okay, we'll look at that in the next lecture. I'll talk about the other two reasons as well, which may apply to some companies, but some other companies, these are not the problem. Okay, one reason, that's why I put it as number 3, okay, is maybe is a problem for some company, especially the small, medium-sized enterprise, a small, medium-sized company. Alright, small as in company which doesn't have a high capital. Alright, the company that applies for this license, it needs to have a minimum capital. Alright, it needs to have a tuôn khang dam. Alright, a Thai company can have any amount of tuôn, any amount of capital that it wants for the company to operate. But for a foreign company who wants to get this license, the capital amount cannot be any amount up to the kind of business activity you want to operate. No. It has to have a minimum capital amount. Why? Why is the law like that? Why is the Alien Business Operations Law like that? It's because the government, the Thai government, wants foreign investments, wants foreign money in Thailand. The foreign company is going to be operating business in Thailand. Therefore, it needs capital to operate its business activity in Thailand. Right? If the capital is low, there's not much money brought in to operate its business activity in Thailand. That is why the government set a minimum capital amount for a foreign company who wants to operate business in Thailand, one who is applying for this license. The minimum capital for the foreign company to get this license, it has to be set at a minimum of, minimum amount of 3 million baht, 3 million baht capital. It cannot be lesser than 3 million baht. If you have less than 3 million baht, you will lose the license. Okay, and by the way, if you're thinking this 3 million baht can be just fake, on paper only, right? The company borrows from someone 3 million baht, goes into the company's bank account. The bank issue a bank statement to show that, okay, the company's bank account has 3 million baht. Right? The company bring this bank statement to the Ministry of Commerce to show the officer at the Ministry of Commerce, officer, the bank, the company's bank account shows 3 million baht. We have 3 million baht. And once the officer at the Ministry of Commerce is okay, the company returns the 3 million baht back to the person who lent or loaned this 3 million baht for a short time. It doesn't happen like that. You need to be able, the foreign company who gets the ABOL license needs to be able to show that the 3 million baht comes into Thailand and is used for business operation. How? Well, first of all, the 3 million baht has to come in over the first 3 years of business operation. I put here first year, second year, third year. The first year, there must be 1,500,000 baht brought into the company's bank account from outside Thailand. Okay, it cannot be transferred in from another company that is already in Thailand or another foreigner that is already in Thailand. No, it has to come from outside Thailand. All right. The other one, the second, and this is the minimum for the first year, by the way, 1,500,000 baht. The second year, a minimum of 750,000 baht. The third year, another minimum of 750,000 baht. Now, if you are a company that is going to have a factory employing 200, 300 people, manufacturing lots of products, okay, 3 million baht capital is peanuts to you. It's very low. No problem, 3 million baht for you, right? Because your machine to manufacture something is already, a few machines is already easily 3 million. But if you are a pub, a restaurant or a coffee shop, why do you need 3 million baht as your capital to operate? You don't need so much. But this is where the problem is. But you don't have a choice. You need to get this minimum amount in order to maintain the license. Right? Another thing is also maybe is a problem for SMEs as well, small business size company or enterprise as well. When the license is granted to the company, you go to the Ministry of Commerce and get the license. Before the license can be issued to you, you need to pay an official fee. This is not corruption money. This is official fees. Ka tham niam. It is written in the law, this amount. The minimum granting fee amount is 60,000 baht. Granting fee. Minimum. Why do I say minimum? Because it goes up. The official fee for the official granting fee for getting the license goes up in amount depending on the capital of the company. The higher is the capital of the company, the higher is the granting fee. So if you say minimum capital at 3 million baht, then the granting fee will be 60,000 baht to get the license. Pay the granting fee, you get the license. Now again, if you are a big company, 60,000 baht is nothing for you. If you're a big company with a high capital of 100 million baht, okay, you have 500 employees, okay, that is not a problem. Okay, but if you're a small business size enterprise which has a restaurant or a pub, okay, and your capital, your real capital is maybe no more than 1 million baht, right? Then maybe this amount is too high for you to pay in order to get the license. But you don't have a choice. Because again, this is a minimum granting fee amount. Because you need a minimum amount, minimum capital of 3 million baht. So your minimum granting fee is 60,000 baht. To get the grant, to get the license. The official fee to be paid to get the license. Alright, so you could say that these are the top 4 reasons why foreign companies says, I rather not apply for the license. Is there any other ways around the law of the alien business operation license, around the foreign business license law, for a foreign company to operate legally without having to apply for the license? Okay, we will cover that in the next class. That's all for this part.